Well, I'm trying to stay centered. Don't get your hopes up too high, and it'd be nice to have some information. Hopefully it'll give us some closure.
Michael Meadows has been waiting for this moment for nearly his entire life.
Don't get seated. Watch your steps here.
For 50 years, he has been haunted by the memory of his mother, Karen Silkwood.
I hear you, Brent. I don't see you.
And the unanswered questions surrounding the car crash that killed her. Was it really an accident? Or something far more sinister?
I don't know if their intent was to kill my mother. I know that's the result of their actions that they took that night.
Finally, on this day, he may get some answers.
The back end of the vehicle is exposed to the wall.
Karen Silkwood claimed there were safety problems at the plant.
She was on her way to deliver documents to a New York Times reporter.
Michael was just 5 years old when his mom died. So young that when he closes his eyes to remember her, it's not always her face that he sees. Instead, it's Meryl Streep. Streep played Karen Silkwood in the Oscar-nominated 1983 film, based on the story of a 28-year-old Oklahoma woman trying to expose secrets some wouldn't want revealed.
They're killing me. They're trying to kill me. They want me to stop what I'm doing.
This is the door your mom would have walked through, going to work every day.
Michael's hopes for answers are pinned on these two men, investigative journalists Mike Betcher and Bob Sands, ready to break through roadblocks that generations of journalists, investigators, even family have not. Tonight, inside the renewed investigation into Karen Silkwood's death, unearthing never-before-heard audio tapes.
Mike, you found it.
What?
Silkwood storage. Big as Dallas.
And a high-tech examination of evidence from the crash.
This isn't over yet.
How does this local story, the death of a 28-year-old woman in a car crash on some rural highway, suddenly become national news with a congressional investigation, FBI involvement, and talk of nuclear secrets?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
All it says is Silkwood. Okay, there we go.
My name is Joe Royer, and I'm an investigator. I'd like to know if I could come by and speak with you.
What case is that?
The Karen Silkwood case.
It all came to a head on this two-lane stretch of highway in Oklahoma.
It's pretty rural out here, and it's dark.
So there's enough circumstantial evidence there to indicate that another vehicle may have hit the car in the rear.
As her son, I would like to have a definitive answer of what really took place.
If we don't learn from stories like Karen Silkwood, we're doomed to repeat them.
Karen started at the Kerr-McGee plant back in 1972. It was designed to make the fuel rods that powered a new kind of nuclear reactor, which meant processing uranium and plutonium. She worked with what was called a glove box, designed to protect workers from radiation while they handled tiny plutonium pellets.
The first few months, she was a very happy camper. She was doing exactly what she had wanted to do with her whole life. But then she started to see reality around her. She started getting contaminated.
It wasn't clear to most people the health effects of radiation.
You're dealing with something that's so many millions of times more toxic than anything else.
Steve Watka first met Karen in the early 70s when he was a young staffer working for the labor union that represented Karen and other workers at the plant, the Oil, Chemical, and Atomic Workers Union.
And I said, you know, Karen, I can't take notes on this. I got to tape you.
In the laboratory, we've got 18 and 19-year-old boys, you know, and 20 and 21. I mean, and they didn't have the schooling, so they don't understand what radiation is.
Kerr-McGee argued it complied with existing regulations. Toward the end of 1974, production had ramped up at the plant, and employees say so had safety issues. Karen volunteered to gather evidence about the safety concerns at the plant and report back to union leaders.
She started snooping. and she came across a lot of very important stuff.
Watka says Karen claimed that important procedures were ignored, that factory reports were being falsified, and she'd been compiling a long list of radiation exposures. Watka and Karen decide it's time to go public. He sets up a meeting with a New York Times reporter on November 13, 1974. But she never made it. On the drive over, her small Honda Civic ended up smashed on the east side of the highway, jammed into a concrete culvert. Karen was declared dead at the scene. Very quickly, law enforcement said they knew the cause.
It appeared at the scene, and from the physical evidence at the scene, that she ran off the road by herself.
The Oklahoma State Highway Patrol had always maintained that Karen Silkwood lost control of her car after falling asleep, something other investigators and those who knew her never accepted.
No, wait a minute. You don't understand. She was just on the highway for a few minutes. She couldn't have fallen asleep.
In recent years, Bob and Mike have uncovered recordings about what may have happened in those final weeks of Karen's life.
There's two sets of tapes here. The first one was this impromptu investigation by a former highway patrolman who, just through circumstances, wound up finding himself in the middle of the Karen Silkwood case.
This could become very dangerous, and that my life could possibly be in danger if we got deeply involved in this.
The voice on those tapes, Larry Dellinger.
That young lady was murdered as far as I'm concerned.
In the early 90s, Dellinger recorded those tapes while he was a state trooper. In his investigation, he says he was told that some local police officers had been working off-duty for the Kerr-McGee Company, and the crash that killed Karen Silkwood didn't happen the way authorities said it did.
He advised that they had run her off the road and killed her.
Dellinger says an attorney told him that a former Oklahoma City cop said he and 3 other off-duty officers were tailing Karen the night she died.
Well, he is one of the 4. Said they had been drinking a little bit, and they were following her. They bumped her, knocked her off the road, probably with no intentions necessarily of killing her, but she runs off the road and hits this big concrete abutment and kills her instantly. And he says that he's scared to death, that he knows someday somebody's going to come in with a warrant and arrest him.
Eventually, Larry got names, and he says he took them to the FBI and the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. But soon the investigation went cold, and nothing ever happened. When ABC News reached out, the FBI and Oklahoma City Police did not comment, and the other state agencies also declined to comment.
I wish the truth would come out. I wish names would come out. I don't have any doubt that it occurred, and she was murdered. It's just not fair. And the people involved are all dead now, all 4 of them that were allegedly in the car.
To date, there has still been no official confirmation of these allegations.
Our thanks to Aaron. For much more on this story, watch What Happened to Karen Silkwood, The Lost Tapes, streaming now on Hulu.